Well, I'm Toby.
And I'm Savannah.
And this is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Spoiler review. Definitely going to be very spoiler-filled. Can't even contain that. That's the way you fucking direct a Star Wars movie. Like, that's a Star Wars movie right there. This movie is the best way to end a trilogy, a saga, just 42 years of history. And just in the beginning, I want to say, except for episode 3, like by far one of the most busiest, like just there's so much going on right as it pans down. Like we are just all of a sudden you're just in the shit. It's the big battle that we saw in the trailer of Kylo taking on whoever he's taking on. I can't wait for the visual dictionary to get here so we can just know even more about each thing that was going on throughout this movie. With the opening crawl, I mean, just the galaxy has heard the echo of Palpatine. Like, everybody knows. And Kylo's going to go and hunt him down. He wants to kill him because he's threatening his power. And so he's, we're just, all of a sudden you come in on the movie and it's just right in on Kylo trying to find out where the Emperor is. Finding the planet that he's on. He gets a Sith Wayfinder. So he's got that, and you learn about what that is, and next time he's going to this planet. The intro was just such a crazy and just chaotic filled intro.
It was. I agree.
This movie grabs elements from all the movies. I mean, right there you have the crazy chaotic intro. That's your episode 3 right there, like right off the bat. And seeing Rey actually earn her powers.
Yeah. Like
she trained. We watched her train. You could tell that she'd been training for a long time. Everybody was frustrated and just upset, and you could just tell that it's been a while. And so that was nice to see. She actually earned the powers that she had. So now, like, she's not a Mary, so you can't call her that now anymore. She's definitely earned everything she's gotten now. I mean, you get the answer to the lineage finally.
Right.
Questions that we've been asking since Episode 7. I love the tactic that J.J. Abrams did to, like, kind of just deal with The Last Jedi.
He did the Obi-Wan thing, though. Oh, yeah, they were nobody from a certain point of view.
Yeah, I like how he did that. That's exactly what I was getting at. The way they did that, he's like, well, Kylo really didn't lie, but they chose to be nobodies. Right. And it's like, oh, there's something interesting. That's something you really haven't seen in Star Wars. Everybody chooses to be somebody in Star Wars. But these two people were people that wanted to be nobodies. Just Palpatine, wow. Just damn.
I mean, are you surprised?
No.
They brought him and turned him back.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all, but just the way they ended up doing the Emperor, like, yeah. And the things how powerful he's grown in the Force, and the things that he ends up being able to do. I mean, he did essence transfer.
Yeah.
And he shot a Thor-level shock of lightning into the goddamn air. Like, I thought Thor was going to be flying in there all of a sudden. Like, that's how much lightning this dude, Palpatine just shoots into the air. That was insane. Just the raw power that Palpatine was ended up being able to have. And Rey, I'm very much convinced that she has, I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it's a Force power that when you touch something, you can feel its recent history and stuff. Memory. Master Voss was huge in that. It was like his huge thing, his best power, and he was like kind of one of the only ones that really had that power as strong as he did. Which you only get to see him in the Clone Wars TV show at some point. So she has that power. Finally being able to see Force heal. Like, in all the books, like especially in like Heir to Empire trilogy, there's Jedi tricks for healing. So it's great to see that. And when we found out The Mandalorian was coming out on Wednesday instead of Friday, I thought there's something that's got to be in there that we're gonna see for like the first time, something, and that's why they're having it come out before the Rise of Skywalker premiere. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just because of the sneak peek at the end. I'm like, no, I don't think so. And I was right on that. They wanted to show the Force healing first there, so that everybody's like, oh, okay, so this is a thing, okay, cool. And then seeing it in there, reinforcing both of them at the same time. So that was great to see. An actual character arc with Finn.
Right.
Finn progressing forward in the series was fantastic. Rose, she did a good job too. She She did take a step back and was more of a secondary supporting character.
Right.
But she still did a really good job.
Yeah.
And
the secondary supporting characters have
they're
always done
just fine. They moved the story along just as much as
Yeah.
everybody else. Like, they're still there for a reason. So she did a really good job. Poe stepping into that leadership role, and asking how do we do it, and Lando, that motherfucker knows how to make an entrance. That Billy D, man, that guy, I love that actor. He's a good man. So yeah, seeing him, as soon as you see him, when you see him on screen, you know it's gonna be him, even though he's in a mask. The helmet very much reminded me of the helmet he wore back on the Skiff outfit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Back in episode 6. So I saw that. I mean, this film really just makes you remember what Star Wars was. It's a space opera about rebellion and romance. And you feel it in this movie. The sacrifices that every character makes. I mean, there isn't one character that doesn't sacrifice something in this movie. Good side, bad side, secondary character, main character. Everybody sacrifices. And just if you know even so much more of the extra lore, if you're a super fan and you've gone in depth and you've read the Aftermath novels, you know, Snap Wexley, he's his first name Timon, nickname is Snap. He's in there and he dies, so you feel that death even more. Orange lightsabers being canon again, yes. So I'm trying to remember exactly everything about an orange. If you carry the orange lightsaber, I know it means you fully, like, totally embrace the light side of the Force, and that like violet is definitely like the alternative. You will always try to find something else first. And I really think that signifies Rey. I'm glad she has that orange-bladed lightsaber. Yeah. Because she fully gave into the light side of the Force. She really didn't want to fight right away. She wasn't going to kill the Emperor. That wasn't her plan. Right. She was like, no, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. I'm not going to violently kill you. I kind of wish we would have seen her get her kyber crystal. I know you can't make the movie longer, but to be honest, and this might be mean, but watching 45 minutes of her trying to go get a kyber crystal would be way more entertaining than 45 minutes of Canto Bight. Just saying.
It's true.
And that's my opinion, my perspective. Everybody has their own. You might disagree, and that's fine. Rey choosing to have the name Skywalker in the end. Yeah. Like, I'm Rey Skywalker, like, because that name carries something with it, you know, and she wants to take on that responsibility. So not only was, you know, like everybody theorized, you know, oh, maybe Rey is a Skywalker and she's the Rise of the Skywalker, or it's Ben coming back to, or Kylo coming to the light side, becoming Ben again, and it was really just, it was all of it. Yeah. He did that, she rose up, it was just all of it together, and seeing a Palpatine and a Skywalker stand there with a lightsaber in each hand, just looking at the Emperor, God, what a scene that was.
I'm glad that it didn't turn out to be everybody, oh, well, that's just going to be the new term for Jedi, and everybody was just assuming that, and I get it, don't get me wrong, I get why people were assuming that, and, you know, it's not that it doesn't make sense to assume that, but I'm glad that wasn't what it was, because it's just, there's no need to change the term Jedi. The term Jedi works just fine. So they kept the term, like, she's still a Jedi. She's not Skywalker instead of Jedi. She's a Jedi, but she's taking on the, she said she had no family name. Well, that's now her. She's taking that on as her family name, which makes perfect sense. I mean, not obviously blood-wise, but...
Right. And just seeing Luke and Leia at the end there.
Yeah.
I mean, what a final shot that was. Her staring at the twin suns, I mean, with the binary sunset in the background. That's Star Wars. Everybody knows that scene of Luke staring off over the setting suns on Tatooine on the sands, and everybody knows that. And ending it with that was just fantastic.
Yeah. I got to see Leia's lightsaber.
Leia's lightsaber, as soon as he pulled that out there, I was like, Leia's lightsaber. I knew, yeah, you just know it. And seeing it, and then seeing her and Luke training. Yeah. I mean, you know it's not them, but still to see it, that's so cool to watch that, and that she had such a great Force cognitive powers that she could see that, like, far into the future. Like, it was even rumored that Palpatine could see far in the future, or see the future, and know what was actually going to happen, not know, like, oh, here's some random outcomes that could happen, but, like, he knew the actual set path of the future. He didn't just see it moving, you know, because Yoda was like, always moving, the future is. Yeah. So Palpatine could actually like see it. So there's that, and seeing Leia actually use that Force power and like know that, and
it's interesting that she gave up the whole role of being a Jedi to try to keep that from happening. I mean, you really can only do so much to prevent bad things from happening, but it's interesting. I mean, at least it gave. Well, granted, it's again JJ just having to cover up for stuff, but at least it gave a reason. Like, we all knew that they, that was what they were going for. That Leia had Force powers and abilities and all that, but you didn't know why the heck wasn't she using them? Like, why isn't she using them?
Right.
Like,
so it gave an answer to that.
Yeah.
Luke saying that he was wrong to cut himself off from the Force and all that. I don't like hearing Mark Hamill ever say that he's wrong, because he's Mark Hamill and he's never wrong. But
well, Mark Hamill's not wrong.
Yeah.
It was Jake's fault.
Yeah, Jake Skywalker, that bastard. So, but seeing like that was just in the image. I think some lines that are sticking in my head, and the ones that I think I might like the most is, Palpatine's shooting the lightning at Rey. She's calling the Skywalker lightsaber to her and behind her back, and he's like, I have all the generations of Sith in me. And, it's just shocking her, and she's losing the battle, and then she goes, and I have all the Jedi. And just lightsabers together, cross, and just goes back and pushes back. I mean, that's the most we've ever seen somebody push back against Force lightning, and then hearing all the Jedi talking to her while she was laying there trying to pick herself back up. I mean,
well, that's another good point for you, that she can't really be considered a Mary Sue anymore. She did. There's consequences to her actions. She exerted so much energy. Obviously, again, this is full of big spoilers. She exerted so much energy doing that last move that she died. Like, it killed her.
Yeah.
She's not all powerful, invincible. Oh, I can never be harmed. No, it killed her.
Yeah.
It did.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
And Leia and Ben's essence got transferred into her to keep her going. Lando coming in and saying, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
So we got that line in there. We had lightsaber to lightsaber contact. And all the old themes that John Williams touched on. We had Princess Leia's theme, the Emperor's theme when he's rocking and doing all his shit, and you had the Binary Sunset, you had Luke's theme coming in. It was just everything. I'm pretty sure even at one point I heard a little bit of a Duel of Fates kind of thing going on. So
maybe I don't.
We'll
be watching. We'll be doing probably multiple videos throughout the weekend, because we'll be watching it over and over and over.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Exactly. We're gonna be seeing it a lot.
The thing is, the moments that they put in there that people just term as fan service are moments that are important to the series. It's not just like, oh, well, we're gonna mention it because it was in the last movie. Like, it's important to the series. That's there's a reason to keep it. Or it's important to whatever character. That's like, I really loved the conversation that Han had with Ben.
Yeah.
That was actually probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. And the thing I think I loved the most about it was when he looked at him and just said, Dad, and then trailed off and couldn't finish it, that Han just said, I know. Like, that was awesome. Like, yeah, I know. You don't have to say it. I know you love me. I know.
I know. Watching... It was nice to see somebody, like, fully renouncing the dark side, and then surviving right after. Like, we saw Anakin come back, but he died right away, so it was nice to see somebody come back and then actually be there and not just be dying. So you got to, like, see that, just how much, and Adam Driver, what a great actor, the way he can make his face to say 1,000 different words.
Yeah. Like,
that man, good job. I feel like everybody brought their best acting to this movie, and the movie for itself is rewarded for it.
They got rid of the whole sexual tension, at least.
Yeah.
By having them just say, all right, you can kiss, and then you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You get one.
You get that one, and that's it.
Then you're gone.
It's like the opposite of a Disney movie. Like, kiss usually brings them back to life. This kiss killed them. One and done.
At least he got one, though.
Yep.
Before he died.
It's true. And Ben's arc, fantastic. Everybody just had good arcs. Everybody's story was ended. It was rounded. I mean, I had all the emotions that I was as a kid when I was watching the original trilogy and growing up watching the prequel trilogy. Just, you felt everything, and every moment came back, and everything was just wonderful. Just wonderful. And man, is it hard watching a Wookiee breakdown.
One of the biggest complaints I've had throughout the series, this sequel trilogy, is how people die, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, We're gonna move on to the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody dies and then it's just move on. And that's just been driving me crazy because it's like all these iconic characters that we grew up with are dying, and well, we're just moving to the next scene. We're not gonna take a moment. We don't care. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just been driving me crazy. So I liked that finally with Leia they took that time and they
mourned her.
They did, and they showed Chewie just having a fucking breakdown, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean,
God. I held it together when Leia died. I felt the tears coming. Then when you see Chewie just losing it,
yeah,
they came out of me too. I was like, oh my God. Well, if he's gonna
cry,
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna cry, then I get to too. That's only fair. I mean, she'll always be our princess. Oh, and Palpatine referring to her as the Princess of Alderaan.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a good line. That was the best thing. The dialogue was fantastic. The line
again, it was just true to the original
Yeah.
characters, and it was dialogue that, people would actually say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but nobody's going to say, we can be the spark that lights the fire, that blah, blah, blah. That's not realistic dialogue. You want realistic dialogue for your characters.
Mm-hmm.
And this had actual things that people would say on it.
Luke Skywalker was more Luke Skywalker in this, in the amount of time he was in this movie than... Luke Skywalker was more Luke Skywalker at the end of this movie when he's standing next to Leia than he ever was in the Last Jedi. Sorry, I just... And knowing that, like seeing... The only thing, and I only had a little bit of anger for like 2 seconds, and the only reason is because you see Rey floating there with all those rocks floating around her, and I was like, that's how The Force Awakens was supposed to end.
Yeah.
That was how we were supposed to go into the next movie, and that was taken away from us, and that, I was like, oh, but God, isn't that a beautiful scene? It was I just loved it.
But yeah, it also sucks, just knowing how much they had planned to do with Leia, and that's not even, you can't even blame Rian Johnson on that one, and you can't blame anybody. It just, Carrie Fisher passed away, unfortunately, and it happens. It sucks to know how much more we could have gotten with her. I mean, maybe even more training. Maybe she was supposed to be like the big master and do a lot of training scenes and stuff like that, but
really trained Rey.
She couldn't, and that's nobody's fault.
Right,
but
it's just the way the world goes, unfortunately, sometimes.
Yeah.
So many callbacks. I mean, not even that, just little things that you're just like, oh my God, there's that. And oh my God. Chewie getting his medal.
Yeah.
Finally, he got that medal. He deserves so much. And I'm sorry, that even might even be fan service, but that's just pleasant, and that's just good, warm, heartfelt, good stuff. Good fan service.
Yeah. I think people confuse lack of fan service with quality writing nowadays, and those two things don't go hand in hand, believe it or not. Nor does straight up fan service. I will give you that. If your movie has nothing but fan service, then yeah, it's probably not going to be a great movie. If your movie is literally just designed to shit on fan service, it's also not going to be a great movie.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, you need a balance of both things.
Right, exactly. And this movie had that. Like I said, just everything. You're going to feel it all.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who is just in love with Star Wars and you just love it for what it is, you're gonna enjoy the hell out of this movie. You really will.
It brings in everything, like you said. It brings in, like everybody's been saying it's supposed to. It brings in everything from every trilogy into one final movie.
Yeah, it literally ends it all. And like just a, I don't know, just like the best way. There's really nothing else to describe it. I mean, it was like the way Lord of the Rings ended with the Return of the King at the ending of that. It was like the ending to Harry Potter. It had everything that it was supposed to have. We were at the theater for about 3 showings, our showing, and 2 other showings got out. I honestly didn't see one person walk out of that theater upset or angry. Everybody looked like they enjoyed every second of what they'd just seen in the last 2.5 hours they spent their lives on.
I'm sure there will. There will be people who
are there will always be people that will hate, and there will be people that will just hate for that, but I mean... People
that will hate because it had a nice ending, like, apparently we're not allowed to have those anymore.
Right.
Get over it. Like, I'm sorry, Star Wars has never been about gripping reality and, dismal, grim endings. That's not what Star Wars has ever been about, and to suddenly change it near the end of a series is stupid. I'm sorry. If you want to do that with a new trilogy, fine, go for it.
Right.
But that's not that's not what we're like. That's not something you just throw in there at the last second. So honestly, if you're a person who understands that Star Wars is about, like you said, rebellion and romance and redeeming, anybody can be redeemed. All those things that Star Wars has always been about. Then yeah, this is a very good ending for that. It's just you have to understand what Star Wars has always been about, not what suddenly these hipsters want it to be about.
Fair enough. Star Wars always, except for Episode 2, I guess, kind of ends on just a what if note, but they always end with some sort of hope. The Gungans and the Nabooians getting together and be getting along at the end of Episode 1, plus freeing their planet. Episode 2 ends with the clones marching, and it's kind of like the Imperial music zooming on Palpatine, like, well, alright, this is kind of the beginning of the end. But Episode 3, even Episode 3, which is probably by far, kind of supposed to be the darkest of all of them, the most stuff happens, that's when the galaxy plunges into the 20 years of Imperial rule. Even that one ends on a little ray of hope, the twins being, into the families they are. Episode 4, the ceremony. Episode 5 even ends with hope.
Yeah.
Still. Han's been frozen, they gotta go find him. The Empire's really split up the Rebel Alliance, but you know what? There's still just that ray of hope. Episode 6, obviously, Ewok whatever ends with that ends with a happy ending. Force Awakens ends with a semi-happy ending, even still, just like, hey, there's always going to be this hope, you see Luke Skywalker. The Last Jedi ended with that, but it felt forced. Like, somebody had to say it.
Yeah.
To make us feel that, and that's not how it's supposed to be. This movie gives you that. You're not told to feel that there's hope. You just know. You just know that there's still hope in the galaxy, and that there always will be.
And I liked that too a lot, actually. That they said it a couple times that's what the First Order or the dark side. That's what they want you to think. They want you to think that nobody wants to help you and that you're alone and all that. And I was like, it's kind of another good dig there. That's what they want you to think. They want you to feel like everything is dismal and helpless. But that's just not. It's not how it is. Sorry. Like
there's always
hope. Yeah. It's basically that's the whole point of Star Wars, considering it started with a New Hope.
Star Wars is like, I guess, if you want to compare it, it's the underdog story. It's the people, the few coming out and taking on the big and winning. It's David and Goliath. It's all those stories.
Sometimes usually it's rising up against some kind of government empire.
Yeah, that's what people, and that's what everybody wants to feel in them. They want to feel that there's hope for things to get better, that things, even in our real world, that's what we hope for. We always want to hope that everything's going to be good and okay, and yeah, you struggle sometimes, but you do it, and it's going to be better. And this movie just brings that in for it. I guess the next video we'll go a little bit more in depth on things that we saw, things that we noticed. I noticed a lot right off the first hand, but I just really want to get our feelings about how just this movie was. I man up to admit it, cried multiple times. I was on the edge of my seat, and then I almost fell off my seat because there was no more seat, because it just kept going, and it was just, oh my god, this, and then
That is one thing that the one, I don't even know if I wouldn't call it a criticism, but one that people have used as a criticism that I would say is valid, that there's just a lot. There's a lot going on. Like, if you get up to pee,
you're gonna not know what's going on.
You're not gonna know what the hell's going on by the time you get back.
You need to stay in the movie theater.
Like, there's a lot, but to be fair, there's a lot because he had to finish what happened from Episode 7, and he basically had to do 2 movies in one. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have a lot when you do that.
Yeah. And then he had to bring in
everything
2 other trilogies into this.
So yeah, that's gonna be a lot.
So there's gonna be a lot in there.
And if that's something that people don't like, then that's fair. But
to be honest, I wish it would have been 3 hours.
Yeah.
I would have sat there for 4 hours. Again, it's Star Wars, so I'll sit there as long as it's still there. But it could have easily been a 3-hour movie, and I would have just enjoyed it just as much, and would have had the same feelings and everything.
And for how much content they had to handle, it didn't really feel rushed. Like,
no.
Like the way Game of Thrones just felt rushed because there was so much that had to happen in 8 episodes.
8, yeah.
It didn't have that feeling. It didn't feel so, okay, wait, what? Like rushed, crazy, like, oh, this character is suddenly evil now. Like, right, it didn't do that. That was...
Yeah, this movie was well-paced.
It was handled very well, yeah.
Well-paced. I would definitely agree with you on that. Then the next videos we'll talk about, I noticed things from the Aftermath novels while reading those books, I was like, God, okay, how is this going to come into play? And the way that everything ties together, that Disney's been commissioning in books-wise and for movies and TV shows, how it just all comes together and how it's all connecting. We'll do another video tomorrow after we see it again, and I'll be excited to, because every May the 4th, we lock our doors and we just sit here from midnight to whenever it ends. We watch Star Wars. So before it's been, before the new movies were coming out, we'd have to watch TV shows, the Clone Wars or Rebels or something else. But now, I mean, we literally have over 24 hours worth of episode movies. And with Rogue One and Solo and everything. And I can't think of a better way to end our May the 4th, but with this movie. I'm just ecstatic as hell. I will be trying to get as much Rise of Skywalker merchandise as I can. We need all of it, but we'll find it all. So yeah, on that happy note, I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. Comment below what was your favorite part, questions you have, things that you want to go in depth on. That's what we want to do, me especially. It's what I just love. We could talk about Star Wars all day, every day, if people would let me. So, yeah, very true. Alright, well, if you haven't seen the movie and you watch this video, shame on you. Or shame. Go see the movie. But until next time, may the films be with you.